Hi everyone. We're going to be learning today the next Mishnah, Perek Bet, Mishnah Bet. Okay. So the Mishnah begins as follows: B'rishona hayu masiyan masuot. At the beginning, they would lift torches, meaning that in order to notify people when Rosh Chodesh was, they would lift torches from one mountain, and they would see, and that mountain would then be visible to the next mountain. Obviously, before modern technology, there was no way of communicating long distances. But at night, you could lift fires and see them quite a distance. So, as we'll see, Bezrat Hashem, the next Mishnah, they would lift the fires from one mountain, and that would go the next mountain to the next mountain, etc., etc. So that's how they would communicate when Rosh Chodesh was, a very efficient system of spreading the word to many people very quickly. However, Mishakilkulu HaKutim, similar to the previous Mishnah, or the Kutim, a sect of Jews who did not believe in what the Beit Din was doing, and rebel against the Beit Din, and try to give the wrong dates. So when they were mekalkel, when they messed up the system, it's kinu shluchin yotze. They made a takana that the shaliach would be yotze. That instead of the the sending up these torches and following that system, they would send messengers shluchim to go out from place to place. Obviously, it's much slower. There would be an authorized shliach of Beit Din, someone who was known to everyone. This is a true, reliable shliach of Beit Din. That person would go out, and that way everyone would know when Rosh Chodesh really was, without having to fear that the day that the fire would go up wasn't in fact the right day, but rather was put there by someone who wanted to give the wrong day to everybody. Okay, Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Gimel continues. How did the system work of lifting torches exactly? That was explained in the previous Mishnah. So mevian klusaot shel erez aruchim. They would bring poles of cedar, long poles of cedar. Klusaot shel erez aruchim, that are long. Vikanim, and reeds along with them. The atzei shemen, and wood from oil trees, oily wood, as is translated over here. Uneoret shel pishtan. They would also bring chips of flax, which was very flammable. The korech u'mishicha. They would take that whole thing, the big stick of cedar, the reeds, and the flax, and they would tie them up with string. They take it all, tie it up. The ola rosh hahar, and they would go up on top of the mountain. Umatzid bahen et ta'orim. When they were up on the mountain, they would go then and light the fire, and they would light this huge torch on fire. Once it was lit on fire, umatz ben ta'or umolich umevi umala umorid. They would then go and wave the sticks in very clear directions. Molich umevi, forward, backwards, mala umorid, up and down. And that way, it was very clearly visible. There was a large fire that you could see from far away, and B, it was moving in a certain direction, showing this wasn't just a mistake, someone lighting a bonfire, but this was in fact the messenger of Beit Din sending out the signal to the next mountain, to the next place, to be able to see that in fact Rosh Chodesh had begun. Ad shehuroa et chavero shu osakim b'rosh hahar hasheni. The person would do this with his torch. They would shake it until they look at the next mountain, and they would see on the next mountain that they were doing the same thing. They'd also taken this torch, they lit that on fire and begin waving it. V'chein b'rosh hahar hashlishi, and similar on the next mountain, the same thing. They would look back to the mountain before them. If they would see the fire there, they would then proceed to ignite their own torch, to light it on fire, and they would wave it until the next the next fire they would see was ignited as well. Now the Mishnah Daled, goes through some of the specifics of where they would do this process of lighting the fires. Me'ayin hayu masiyan masuot, the beginning of Mishnah Daled, from where do they light these fires? Mehar hamishcha l'sartava. From Har hamishcha is the Mount of Olives, right? We call it now Har Zitim, outside of Yerushalayim. It was Har hamishcha. I assume it's the same place. I'm not sure. To Sartava, another city called Sartava. Sartava leGrofina, from Sartava to Grofina, Grofina leChavran. These are all cities that would travel out. If you have some of the newer mishnayot, I believe they have a map of Eretz Yisrael where you go. All these places are. Grofina leCharvan, Charvan leBeit Biltin, and from Beit Biltin, and then Lozazu Sham. They wouldn't move from there. I mean, they wouldn't stop shaking this torch. Ela molech umevi mala umorid. they would again go backwards, forwards, up and down. Ad hayroa kol hagola lefanav medurat ha'ish, until the entire diaspora, all of Bavel, the Jews were already living in Bavel, would appear to him like a massive fire. All of Bavel, obviously meaning that on lots of different mountaintops they would have lit these fires as a way of everyone showing that again you knew basically when Rosh Chodesh would fall out. You knew between a couple of days when Rosh Chodesh would be, because that's the time that's eligible for the new month to begin. It's really within, in general, within 2 days. So you would know when it would be. On those nights, people would wait on top of those mountains, and when they would see the fire, everyone would be on top of their mountain, light their fire, and be able to communicate in long ways, and you'd be able to have this huge image of fire in all these mountains, and everyone clearly knowing that today is, in fact, Rosh Chodesh. Thank you very much.